All right. So this is a budget workshop, a little less formal than a regular meeting. It is focused on one topic. It's focused on the proposed budget for 2023. It's kind of a roll up your sleeves, let's do some work session. However, we will start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, so let's just, I think tonight we want to go line by line. What do we want to be the outcome for tonight?
Have we made a decision in regards to the firefighter stuff?
I was hoping John would be here to see what the budget committee discussed regarding whether the number is 2.25 or 300.
Because until we get that figured out, I mean, I think it's kind of pointless to
Should have raised that before we got here today.
Well, I thought we were gonna have that information tonight, so my apologies.
We only said he'd be a little bit late, so he'll be here, won't he?
On the table is what it will look like if you go with 300,000 for the.
So this is already has it built in?
No.
Somewhere, I thought that it had been handed out on the.
You want me to go make copies?
Well, I may have to go make copies.
My personal opinion is that we think that's the way it should go.
It's incorporated in the, yes,
Correct.
okay, all right.
And so I think we should, at least for tonight, move forward that way,
I'm good with that.
okay?
Yeah.
And then, I mean, we can deliver that to the budget committee and say, this is how we believe it should be,
Fair enough.
yeah.
Here they are.
Because there'll also be, the process, right, is the fact that they'll get the budget, but that's before the public hearing. So if we have to, we can always go back and trim a little bit more. Right?
But isn't it up
It's
to the
a-
budget committee to make sure that it's 4%?
Yes, it is.
It's
I
their
mean,
responsibility.
we, yeah, but we don't wanna go in with 6 and have them start deciding what to cut.
No, fine.
What are we talking about?
Whether we factor the 300 for the firefighters into the,
Well, it's only 225.
correct, yeah.
Okay, that's what I was wondering. Are we changing the number to 225? Because
Well,
I
we
think you're right in.
Pretty
your-
much have to, because if you read, I mean, the way the warrant article was written, it's expenditures of 225.
But did that come up with the budget committee? And
Oh, yeah, I brought it all up for everything else.
And they were on
open.
board with that?
Yeah, they understand it.
Fine, okay, good.
There's no questions about it. And I literally told the budget committee too, when I sat there, I said, listen, us as a board of selectmen, I hope I didn't overspeak what I said, we're gonna make cuts and we're gonna do the best we can, but we might not hit that number. And I said, if you guys wanna hit that number, just bear to defend your cuts you're gonna make.
Yeah,
So I
the
said,
num-
because when you jumped that 75,000 back in, that's 75,000 what we're gonna cut.
Yeah,
a
I just printed, Betsy, I just printed, it should have gone to the printer, doing it the way John just suggested at 2.25. So-
Okay, you want me to go make copies?
No, I think there should be 6 copies sitting in the copier.
Was that also the question on that right there, is at the bottom where we have our default budget, is that 225 in the default budget?
It
Is it
would,
represented, because the number looks like it's really low, and it looks like it should be higher, like we should have added 225 to
Since
that.
it's committed, that should be in the default budget.
Yeah.
Exactly, that's why I'm
Yeah,
saying,
yeah.
Right,
the
right, I
default
think-
budget seems low compared to what we're looking at for what we increased.
the default budget does include the 225.
It does?
Yes.
Even at that number?
Yeah, here's the way they got to it.
And it was at number 300 or 225 that we put in?
225.
Okay.
Okay.
Chris put in, here's how we got to the default budget. The landfill principal was unchanged, the Mulligan easement principal came came out, the fire station principal came out, the landfill interest dropped by $100, the Mulligan interest came out, and the internet came out, so that was taking out 103,000, then you add back 225 to what the operating budget was in this calendar year is 4,419,877, which brings it to 4,541,263. That was what Chris gave you in July, and I believe there was a vote on it.
So what's the number that we have to cut with the 225 in there?
I think it's around about 250.
Yeah, well, technically, you don't have to cut anything, but the budget committee would have to cut.
What is the number we
If-
desire to cut?
I'll tell you how much you are over the cap right now.
This is such a fun time of year.
$264,468.
264, 468.
That is what you are over the cap when you use 2 1/4.
How did that go up from when, last time we talked about it, and it was like
It's like 157.
157?
Yeah.
How did that go up?
I think because before we were using the entire and not just the operating, and you decided you were just gonna use the operating
No,
budget.
No, it was, the 300,000 wasn't figured in the first time. Was it?
I thought it was.
No, that was the question, whether it was, we were gonna put it in or not, because it would either be 157 that we were looking at, or we'd be looking at 457.
But if we're putting the cap should go down.
That's why this number
That
doesn't
would've
make any
gone out
sense to me.
between the 300 and the 225, so
That-
there's 75,000 right there. Between the 300 and the 225.
So, but it's gone up like 100,000.
107.
Yeah.
I thought I had it written on this copy, but
Because it was 157
Yeah.
before.
yeah.
And we thought that by putting the 225 in there, we would, that gap would be smaller, was how I interpreted it.
I'm pretty sure that, I did not, go ahead.
How much did you add back in salaries? Does that impact it?
And back, no, because they were, most, everybody, the only one I had to adjust was the building inspector for his increase in pay. The rest of them were all figured in when the
Okay.
department had submitted the budget.
Okay.
I mean, this is overall,
it still
right, we're
doesn't-
talking?
What's that?
This is overall, we're talking that number, right? So we're talking the difference?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just looking at healthcare's 193,000 above.
Well, no, but that was in there the last time we went through the budget.
Oh, okay.
And so it's really, the last time we did this, we thought we had to cut 157. Now, we're saying that we have to cut 264, but adding that 225 in should have brought that down.
No.
No.
No, we, at the 157, all right, that was with 300,000 in there. Us using that item in there. And we were looking to cut 157.
Yeah.
But now we're only taking 225, we gotta add 75 to the 157, so that's why I think we should be coming in at 232.
Yeah, it's,
Yeah.
yeah, it's supposed to be 232.
Right, okay, I'm sorry, just to make sure.
But,
Yeah,
oh,
it
Where,
was,
where does that difference of 32,000 come from?
Well, we added, there were some additions in the bottom line of the operating budget this time to last time.
Updated actuals,
Well,
or-
no,
The actuals doesn't have anything to do with the budget.
you went from, in the old budget, you were,
The increase in Courtney's salary, you had that change.
Well, that's what I was just asking about.
They're minor amounts though.
but they added up to a total, a net. The old, Sorry about that, I'm having paper problems here.
Oh, yeah.
Trying to get to the
Yeah,
last
budget
page.
change 335, budget change for, yeah, it's like $100,000 difference.
Yeah, here you went, you were at 5,055,000 and now you're at 5,080,82.
82, yeah.
So there's 30 there, so add that to the 230 and that's how you get to
Yeah.
your 250.
But where did the 30 come from?
Well, part of it was, well, you added like $8,000 to police gasoline. You added the salary for,
Well, it was both police and fire they added for the fuel, wasn't it?
yeah, I think we added
Those
some
two
for
departments
fuel
we
as we
they
were going
doubled.
through.
We didn't add it though.
It was suggested that they added, so they went
So
and,
they went back and
We
added
put it in.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
And then we got Courtney's salary, we've got Dale's salary.
That totals about
I think that's how you get to the 30. The two fuel lines being the big ones.
All right. Do you wanna do it to the 264 and see where we land? Or do you wanna do it to 230 or?
Well, whatever gets us under that 4%, you know.
Well, going to 264
Well,
gives us that
I-
little buffer too, but
Are you trying to get all the way or make a effort and then leave it to the budget committee to finish it?
What do you guys think about that?
I think if we do our due diligence to get it under it, I think, there'll be less cuts going to the budget, but John would have more of a pulse on that than I would.
I was never in favor of this 4%, so I know the people that sat on the budget committee that are in favor of the 4% and the ones that put it in, and I wanna see them, and again, not to sound vicious or conniving, but I'm gonna tell you right now.
So you would-
is, I wanna do what I think is right here by what I recommend the cuts. But, the reason why we're here is because of inflation and things that we had to give more raises because we weren't paying. All legitimate reasons for why we could this year support a 7% increase. But since we can't, and we have to be at 4%, and we're cutting over 3% of the budget or more, it's not, we've always been fiscally responsible, year after year, year after year, year after year. And then somebody comes and cuts our hands and says, listen, just because of this one particular year, now we're stuck at cutting services. And I said, and again, it's just how I feel about doing it. I'm gonna do whatever you guys want as the board. If we can sit here and we can make agreements and we can get to the 260 for cuts, perfect. But I'm not gonna be sticking my neck out and saying, making cuts off here and recommending things gets cuts, when I don't support the fact of having to do this 4%.
I would think, knowing where this tax cap came from, if you put it in those hands, they might cut a police cruiser or something really critical. I wouldn't wanna risk that. I don't think we're gonna make anybody squirm by putting them in the hot seat to figure this problem out. I think I just think the problem would get worse with arbitrary cuts that they might impose.
I'm worried about them making uninformed cuts.
Yeah.
Well, they should be actually pretty well informed with the amount of meetings that we actually have, since we have one every single Thursday for the next 2 months. If they're not informed with what they're making decisions and cuts on the budget, they should be sitting on the board. I'll say that publicly too.
I'll agree with you, but one of the things that frustrated
I'm not
me-
ready for reelection. I'm just gonna be honest, straight up.
Well, one of the things that frustrated me at the last meeting was, and I guess this has more to do against the school, the one that I said in it. Has more to do against the school, but somebody looked at the school rep and said, have you guys considered going for grants? And to me, that's an uninformed question. Because if you know the town, if you know the school, everybody's constantly going after grants. And so that's just the naivete that I worry about. All right, so what do you guys wanna do? Do you wanna try to hit that number, or do you wanna start and see where we get, see how close we get to it? Do we expect that we're gonna come out of here with votes tonight, or do we wanna come up with a list that we all roughly agree to, give a consideration, and then vote next Monday?
We're not having a meeting this Thursday because there's nothing for us to meet about on the budget committee. So we canceled that meeting. So we do have a time,
Okay,
you know, for whatever we figure out tonight. We still have Monday's meeting too to figure out if we need to fine tune things before we go back and have something for the budget committee for that
So
Thursday.
are we restarting everything now, or are we gonna go off of some of the cuts we've already talked about?
I think we should restart only because, we didn't vote on the cuts that we
Okay.
suggested.
All right,
But at least we know where we stand on them because we already said about them.
Exactly, but we also have, based on some of the research that John has done, we also have more flexibility with the rec revolving fund now. And so there's some of the things that we discussed as cuts that we may shift to the rec revolving fund. And so it becomes a cut out of the budget, but we're still able to cover it.
well, there's other avenues too. You know, shim and seal coat can take some of that out of it, put it on the warrant article,
Exactly,
so.
exactly. Has the CIP gotten anywhere yet?
We haven't met yet.
Okay.
I'm having a little trouble reaching some of its members. We may just go without them, but I feel that one of them is a school rep. I kind of want her there.
That's why the CIP ended up with.
Yeah. So, but we'll probably just go with what we have.
Okay, all right, so let's start to dig in then. Let's start with the executive department. Looking back to what we did talk about. One question I had, did we assume in the town, what did we assume in the town administrator's salary? Did we assume 100,000?
That's what we put in as a number.
Do we feel realistically comfortable that we're gonna get somebody for that?
I would feel more comfortable going for 105, because that's kind of like what MRI indicated to me.
Okay, I was thinking, I had a number of 110, but 105?
Yeah, and that would be, let's have the max,
Yeah.
right, and then we have room, but
Okay.
what do you guys all think?
Nope. We haven't even seen our candidates yet.
We will. But at the same time too, I wanna make sure we get a quality
Those
candidate for
candidates
the.
already know on the job description that we put out there what we are looking for price.
Up to 105.
Well, then that's up to 105.
Yeah, which is why I'm saying I think I would feel more comfortable that we had that amount.
Yeah.
Comments, thoughts? So we'll increase that to 105?
Where I'm doing the minutes, do you want to take votes, or is this by consensus? Do you want to take a vote at the end of of everything that's been adjusted?
What I would like to do is try to reach consensus tonight,
Yeah,
but not take votes.
Right.
Give everybody the opportunity to rethink for a week.
digest it for a week,
And
yeah.
then come back and vote next week. Are you guys all good with that?
Yep.
Yeah, when we come back to vote, we're voting on just the bottom line number.
Yeah, unless.
Everything we made a consensus tonight saying this here, and if we end up with our budget at being,
Yeah.
4,850,000 or whatever, we just,
But I wanna give people the opportunity to come back next Monday and say, you know what? We said this, but I've rethought that, and I think we can add, decrease, whatever.
I'm just curious, the 105 or 100,000, whatever we have here for the salary, that does not include the benefit package, right? Or does it?
That's an
That is
assumption,
just a salary.
That's just a salary,
yep.
okay.
But we had lines, in does the benefits stay with salary or not?
Well, yeah, depending on what you're offering for benefits. I mean, health insurance is gonna stay the same no matter what you pay him, but,
You don't know that number off?
retirement and that kind of stuff this is scheduled for those things at 100,000.
Right, but the benefit package, do you have a rough idea what that would run? Okay,
Don't we always assume it's a two-person plan?
Usually, if we don't know.
But the health
And I'm
insurance is through
sure
the
this
state,
is
right?
considering it's a two-person plan, but you still don't know what they're,
Yeah.
you know,
But for
gonna
budgeting
negotiate with you as far as the benefits package.
So is the benefit, the health, what'd you say, through
Is
the
health
state?
insurance through the state?
It's health trust, it's a pooled health insurance.
I know, I mean, whoever's the trustees on it or whatever ought to be, be looking into taking in other bids to take it. I mean, that's as high as
Pretty
I've
good
seen
plan,
anybody
pretty
have.
Good price compared to others.
How often do we shop around? Do we even do that?
We haven't in a couple of years.
Might be something we need to look at.
In your experience, is that worth it or not? It's worth it.
Health trust has consistently, since the time that I've been here, been probably one of the better options.
I still don't think it's a bad idea to at least look around. Not this year, obviously,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
next
yeah,
year.
yeah.
Not compare the,
Okay, so far we've added 5K. Anything
You're
else?
getting closer, Don.
Yeah, seriously.
Something that was brought up too at the budget committee, last meeting we had. So when we get going through here, we'll start adding up all our telephone bills. And that we're at $23,000. They would like to see an itemized of why it's so big.
Okay.
So actually a physical hard bill that they send you, so we know, they know what's going to pay for internet off that bill or what's going for this. That's 23
So you want to
seem-
break down between the internet and the phone for that line? item?
However, so it's easier for them to read, to justify why the fire department's paying into which amount for their phone bill, or this phone bill here, then the town shed's phone bill and this phone bill, it all comes to like $23,000. And it's like, well, what do we have for great service that this, if it's a phone?
Right. And there's other ways, there's other areas too, like, don't we have a couple of different vendors that we use for dumpster services for the town?
No, for the dumpsters here, it's waste management.
To, that, they do all of the town, waste
Yes.
management. All right, what about,
Casella does the hauling and waste management does part of it, so the recycling center.
what about the fuel, like oil, gas, whatever that we need? You have a couple of different vendors for that, or is it?
We used to. Right now, we're all with Irving. Last year, every year he put it out. I don't think it's been done this year, but every year it's been put
Okay.
out to bid, and it's between Hartman and Irving that usually come in at the cost.
I think that's something we should look at again, obviously, for next year.
Okay, so I had some additional questions in the, executive area. So line 3, salary, secretarial, is that just Kelly?
No, that's also, Lorraine doing the minutes.
Okay.
And, it's basically Kelly and Lorraine.
Okay, and that number, has that changed to reflect the fact that we're gonna be paying somebody a higher rate next year?
A higher rate for doing the minutes? No, I don't think so, has it?
No, how many hours
There's
did
not a lot
Lorraine?
of hours involved with doing the minutes. Lorraine had minimal hours, she just gave me her hours monthly.
Okay, so we don't feel we
So we're
need to adjust
talking-
that line at all for that?
We're talking under 10 hours a month.
All right,
Basically, the new contract will be double the length of the meeting. So if a meeting is 2 hours, she charges 4 hours at $25 an hour, so it's $100 to do the minutes.
wait, it's double, okay, I get it. So you're comfortable that what we have in that line will cover that increase?
Oh, I think in the scheme of things, we can make it work.
Okay. All right. The printing line, you've already reduced in this budget that we're looking at right now to reflect the reduction in the number of copies of annual reports, town reports we're gonna print? No?
No, because, last year, she's gonna do fewer this year.
Right, so my understanding was that could come down by, was it 2,000?
1,900.
1,900.
So we can,
So that's one.
How many books are we printing for that?
I think she's doing 250, whereas she's doing 500 in the past.
it's available electronically as well.
I know, that's why it's
Yeah.
almost,
You know,
So we cut 1,900 from that?
$1,900, yeah. Yeah. Here's one.
I'm looking at some numbers here. I really think it should be someone from the healthcare plan to come to this board and tell us why it should be 51%, when the average in America plans are going up like 6.7%. Must be a real good plan.
So we just re-signed for that, right?
Yes.
Okay, so that is a good thing to put on the priority list for the board for 2024. Because we're
We can
committed,
start looking into that over the summer.
yeah, we're committed for the next year. So that's a fair, when the board gets together at their first meeting in March and you define priorities, that would be a great thing to put as a priority.
The health one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Software licensing went down. That went up a little bit. Okay, does anybody else, well, the other one that was in here that there were some questions about was the Pawtuckaway Lake Advisory. And I think we had put the 5,000 in here last year in addition to the warrant article because we wanted to give them kind of like a little pool of money that they could come directly to you guys and get quickly versus having to come to the board for permission to withdraw it, from the reserve fund. Is that correct?
I guess.
Yeah. So there was some discussion about wanting to take that down to 2,500.
Not gonna be popular, but
Well, they've still got their other,
They
their,
still-
their regular warrant article, they'll still have that.
And they still have money in the invasive species fund.
Yeah, even if you don't put any more money in, they've got 40 or 50,000 there.
No, they don't have that much. I think they're
No.
only 25.
Oh, is it down to 25? Okay.
Still, that's
Well, we have
3
to,
years' worth of contributions.
we have to be aware of the fact that it's getting way worse.
It is worse, yes.
It's getting way worse. All right, so do we have a consensus about cutting that from 5,000 to 2,500, or does anybody wanna talk a little bit more about it?
I'm fine with it. I mean, we gotta chip away from everywhere if we're gonna hit the target.
Ben?
I'm torn about this because I know two of the board members live on the lake, so they're well aware of the situation that's out there. I took a tour of most recently about a month and a half ago, and honestly, I think they could use as much funds as they can get to try to combat this, because it's on the cusp of being out of control. And I still strongly believe that we should try to do everything we can to get the state involved, how difficult that may be. They're planning an expansion over there, which means there's gonna be more people,
They dropped the boat launch, though.
They dropped the boat launch, but you're still gonna have, people using the two that are out there, which is gonna clog it and gonna make it an issue. We already have milfoil at the town beach now.
yeah, if it wasn't for the good volunteers, the people that are paying to get that out, cause even this amount of money here, you talk $5,000. Well, it can cost $75 to $100 for a guy to suit up and go down and start removing it. Now, there's usually two of them. So $200 an hour could jump into, and there's only such an area that they can do in a certain day, or a period of time that they're gonna be down. So, two people, 8 hours, let's just say, there's $1,600.
Yep, but then if you take that and you cut that in half, you've already,
You're gone. Oh,
Yeah, thank God for the volunteers, because the estimate I've always heard is that if you have to actually pay somebody, it would be like $30,000 a
Yeah.
acre.
well, it's more than
So-
that, yeah.
There's a couple other options here, though. One is we could reduce it to 25 and then add 25 to the warrant article. Suggest they add 25 to the warrant article. Or they have the ability at the deliberative session
Put it back in.
to put it back in.
I can't support a cut on that either way. I just assume leave it.
Just leave it.
I don't wanna
Look at other
take-
stuff right now.
I don't wanna take the risk that it not be put back in.
So you wanna leave it there for now and let's see
Yeah.
where we end up?
Yeah.
So at this point, the only two changes made in executive were to lines 2 to go up 5,000 and line 6 to come down 1,900.
Yep.
Okay.
What about line 12? I mean, it didn't hit the actuals there. I think we could drop that to 10,000.
Betsy, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, the thing of it is through most of the year, we had, IT from Seacoast Computer that only covered us.
Yep.
Okay, now we've switched to
A.
Bay, whatever it is, and they're doing the entire building. So the monthly, you know, you'll see the PD's has gone down and ours has gone up, so it's kind of a trade-off between the two.
So today we got a bill for $1,500, and we'll have another $1,500 bill, and that's what it's gonna be a month going forward, so that's where the 14,000 comes from Back Bay.
Back Bay, that's it.
Anything else in that area? All right, let's move on to town clerk. Town clerk salary. I mean, I've said it, some of you might have heard, but I'll throw it out again. I am not in favor of any salary increases for elected officials. Particularly in the case of the town clerk, because they do get a share of the fees.
Do we know how much?
We read those numbers and handed them out earlier.
The fees are based on the number of registrations and,
Yeah, but on average, do you have like an average number, what percentage?
Wasn't it like,
It was $54,000 for the year.
And is that split between the both of them, or is it
Yeah.
based on? Okay,
it's based on the number of transactions each one does. So the more
Oh, okay.
transactions, the bigger share of that you get,
okay.
so.
But one of the issues that we were discussing ahead of time, it appears that the town clerk's salary does not adequately reflect the increase in hours that occurred throughout the year. So if you look at the actual amount is 23,284 with another month to go, which will bring it to about 25,000. So my suggestion is you change the wording of the narrative to indicate no increase in rate, but increase in hours, or something to that effect, because I think just the increase in hours that you gave is going to bring it to 25,000 for the year end.
They're not open on the last Saturdays of the month now, because they added during the week, right? Okay.
So basically, though, it includes a $1 salary increase for the town clerk and $1 for the deputy town clerk, is what it worked out to be.
Just a salary.
$1.50 for the
Just
town
the
clerk.
salary
Yeah,
increase.
okay.
piece.
But then they don't adequately reflect their hours, at least that's my understanding of,
Are we sure? I'm trying to remember when we increased their hours.
Last year.
So it wasn't, so it should have been reflected in this budget.
Should have been.
For the full year.
I'm just going by how much we've spent. We spent 23,284 through 11 months. So another month would bring it to 25,000.
You don't remember, Betsy, when we did it?
No, I don't. My guess would be that you based it on the hours and when the, budget was done last year and not considered the, additional hours for the elections. They put in a lot of hours for the elections this year. Every year, with each election.
So what you're saying, John, is that you don't think we have any room to cut on that?
No, I think if you don't want to give a raise, you put that in the narrative. This is, that you change the narrative.
The actuals year-to-date are pretty close to the amount budgeted for 2023.
Well, no, it's more. It's $3,000 more.
Yeah, they're already 3,000 over.
sorry.
Okay, I do wanna just go back and,
So is there a change in the narrative to read that this is not a change in rate, but based on number of hours, or something to that effect?
I'm okay with that, but I definitely wanna go back and check and see when we, cause we can go back through the minutes and look at when we increased those hours. Because if the actuals are higher than the budget because of elections, that's different. So,
Yeah, you almost should go back
Where
to,
you on that?
what's that? Okay,
okay.
cause you'll see when there was a significant jump, right?
We're gonna come back to that one later, or?
Yeah. Okay. Anything else in that section? Yeah, so the fees paid to the clerks from the beginning of the year through 10/31 was, 44,340. So that's,
November fees I won't show until the next payroll.
so just, that's a perspective on the fees. Anybody have anything in there, other, in this category?
So the minute's gonna say, the question was, the actual reflected 3,000 over budget, and the board wanted more information on those extra hours,
Yeah,
hours, the minutes.
yeah. I mean, you're probably right, John, but I just wanna go back and verify that.
And since I wasn't here, I'm just making assumptions, so.
Exactly, exactly. Elections. Supervisors. Salaries include school and town deliberative, town elections, one potential special election, or presidential primary at $16 an hour. Also included is training for the ballot clerks and the new, state database. So I had a couple of questions on this one. Because the election workers went down while the supervisors went up. And if there was increased money for more elections, more hours, why didn't the election workers go up?
Preparation for, absentee ballots and
Yeah, but why would it go down so dramatically?
for the supervisors or the election workers?
Election workers.
The election workers are only there the day of the election.
Yeah, but if we're planning on more elections, why wouldn't that number be the same or go up?
Preparation, changes in laws, they've been spending a lot of time in here lately going through the voter
Yeah, but it went
checklists
down.
and It went down for,
The election workers went down $7,000.
like I said, the election workers are basically the ballot clerks that just show up on the day of election. There's no prep before, there's no prep
No,
after.
I understand, but why did it go down from year to year?
She bases it on the number of elections each year.
Except for that she's saying there's more.
Oh,
So, actually, maybe it's just because the year-to-date is less. I guess maybe that's it.
maybe.
Okay.
7,000 though?
Over budget, I guess, last year.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, but then they want the salary for the supervisors to go up. And I'm not sure where they're coming up with that $16 per hour.
They're getting what, 12 now?
Yeah, yeah.
Well, I mean, 17, 18-hour days, I mean, and plus all the extra training they've gotta go through. I think,
Elections aren't
they're
getting
well,
easier.
they're well overdue for some sort of raise,
Well,
but,
in 2018, they were making 961. 2019, they went to 1066. 2020, they went to 1250. So they had almost a $2 raise between 2019 and 2020.
and they still
I
have,
think the issue-
2019, making $9 an hour was pretty,
Hey,
and in fact, one of the things I see where I come salary purpose here, volunteerism is a dying thing. Right, they're elected, but again, none of us sit here for the money,
right,
all right?
Right.
And none of these guys, half of what they're doing here is almost like a civic duty that they're doing. For what, even though we're getting compensating for pay, but there's a lot at stake of what they do. You know, I mean, this is a job where, you know, with all the hours, the education that goes into doing it, the responsibility they have with everything that goes on to make sure this event, how important this event is. I mean, to pay a person $16 an hour to do this, I don't think is,
that's a $3.50 an hour increase.
okay.
oh, pitch them 15, but I don't think we should go, I mean,
Are we taking into account that after this last election, they were here almost a month going over stuff?
Getting paid hourly.
I get that,
Getting
but
paid.
there were long days, the day of the election and all that stuff, plus the additional training. I mean, they're well overdue for some sort of raise. And the fact that we have been dealing with inflation, I don't think this dollar amount is that far off the mark.
Yeah, I think when they mentioned it to me, they were saying, you know, at McDonald's, they're paying 15 to start, you know, or 16 to start, and
Again, I'm just gonna
Walmart
play devil's advocate here.
stores.
They're elected. This isn't their job. They're not basing their livelihood on this salary. As opposed to somebody who's working at the library and can make more money delivering pizza. I understand that the people who are filling this role want the extra income, but it's not what their livelihood is based on.
so why don't we go back and look at the line one in there and tell everybody, all of us here, that we gotta get $600 less a year?
Who, us?
Yeah.
Fine, I don't care.
Again, I'm just saying, I mean, if we're gonna validate somebody for not paying them, we should, I mean, again, trust me, I don't wanna lose this $600, but, and that's 3,000 you cut off the budget right there. Cause we're not paid hourly either.
I'm fine with that. Now, you guys have to think about it, because I'm not gonna be here. But that's up to you three.
Again, we can continue on, I was just throwing that out, where if, I mean,
Yeah, but so far all we've done is add.
You cut one, added one.
Yeah.
I know postage keeps coming up.
Can we just go line by line by line?
Yeah, well, they have postage too, don't they?
I agree with you on postage, it keeps coming up. What I said to these guys today is, I know the volume varies, but there should be an assumption about what the increase is gonna be percentage-wise.
Consolidating all this wouldn't benefit?
Some of it is in the budget, but it gets reimbursed, like planning and
Zoning.
The town clerk in there,
town clerk.
Okay,
when they collect the registrations, it's also
Yeah.
all right.
included in
Yeah.
there.
In- Any change to the election supervisor's salary line? I'm trying to keep it on topic. That's something the minute taker gets to do. Ask, you know, what has been moved?
Well, Tony, you haven't expressed an opinion on that.
On the postage, or the,
The supervisor.
No, supervisor's salary for elections.
yeah, it is odd that the workers went down, the supervisors went up, you know, but I don't know the backstory to that. But are we looking at more elections for next year, bottom line, than this year?
They did factor in more for elections based on the potential for a primary to be early January or even
December.
December.
Doesn't look like that's gonna happen.
No, it's not gonna be December.
So December 2023
Correct.
primary?
Well, it's probably more likely gonna be January.
Are we too far along in the process to ask Dee to come in and explain why the numbers and employees have gone down, supervisors have gone up, rationale behind extra pay?
I think just send her an email.
Are we too far in the process for that?
No, no.
I'd like to hear what she has to say about that.
I can invite it to the 12th.
Yeah.
But this, I mean, her budget reflects the increase of the potential more elections and all of the associated costs, plus an increase in salary. So, it's gonna cover all of the elections, but. All right,
Yep.
next section. Financial administration.
So we can cut anything.
What's that? No, we didn't cut a thing.
We're already on line 50, and we still haven't cut a dang
That
thing.
was my point.
No, well, you've actually gone up 3,100.
Well, the purpose here, as I to do, is to cut.
Yep.
Understood.
So line 52, the auditors,
Oh, you can't very well do that if you're gonna have an audit. It's just, they charge us what it takes, and that's a realistic number. They haven't finished the audit, which is why it's not expended yet.
We should have it by the end of the week.
That's what they finally said, yeah.
alright, well, if there's any wiggle room to cut anything out of there, you know, even a grand, I think we should.
Well, I mean, you got 12,998 and then you got 16,000. You've got $3,000 we can,
What are you
We
looking at?
still have one more payment to
Line
make after
52,
final
the
audits.
auditors. How much is
is that
those
gonna bring us
payments?
up to 16,000?
Close to it.
All right, I'm gonna throw it out here again. 949, tax collector salary.
Tax collector salary now also includes the tax collector fees. So although she's gone up, the fees have disappeared.
What do you mean?
The tax collector gets fees for, the leading process, I believe it is. She gets so much for,
Right?
Is that something we did, or?
Line
no,
50.
it's always been that way.
Wait, what do you mean the fees went away, though? Do you-
Yeah, that's
we
what-
didn't-
Well, she, instead of paying her the fees per person, she went over it last year and made a proposal to have salary each month rather than, or annual stipend.
So we get the fees.
Yeah, so we're no longer paying the fees, we're just, it's included in. She did a calculation, presented it to Chris, Chris agreed with it, it was, so hers hasn't really gone up.
Her total compensation hasn't gone up, it's
Right.
just shifted from fees to
Right.
salary increase. Okay.
If I may, you're working on the pebbles, the large rocks are elsewhere in the budget.
Yeah, well, I think it's best if we go through it line by line like this.
I understand, but
Yep.
what my experience in the past has been is often the entire meeting will be spent on the first few pages, and you never
Got
get to
it.
where the big numbers
Yep.
are.
Nobody said it was gonna be a short night.
No, just an FYI.
Anybody see anything else in financial administration?
What about the, I mean, it's small, but it's, the line 53, this 300 was spent 1 year, 300 last year,
That is
0
the
spent.
stipend for the trustees of the trust fund. There are 3 of them, and they each get paid $100 a year.
And you haven't paid it out
Haven't
yet?
paid them
I
yet?
haven't paid them out yet, usually I pay them in November, but
Assessing. $200 increase. Oh, John, one of the ones that was here was, oh no, wait, what's the mapping? Was that the one for the master plan? Or is that under planning? Never mind.
Master plan would be under planning.
So what's the mapping under
the tax maps that we have, the big ones, and then updating any subdivisions have to be put into
Okay,
into new maps.
so that's 24 of 5 so far. Is that, again, like a billing issue or
We get paid twice a year. They also update the online maps.
okay. Anything, anybody have under assessing? Legal.
What's our case count looking like? Like, are things like winding down?
I talked to the lawyer the last 2 Fridays. I don't know.
Well, in my year as chair this year, I haven't gotten served any papers.
It's not over yet.
Right now, we don't have any significant cases.
So why don't we cut 10 grand off of that? It'll still be higher than the actuals for this year. We gotta dig at the rocks. Let's dig at the rocks.
Questions, comments, anybody? Any risks or concerns?
That I know of.
Everybody, consensus on that? John? Tyler?
Make it go from 40 to 30?
Yeah, I mean, that's good, it's 10 grand, perfect.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't really object to anything we cut, because we're still so far away from cutting where we need to be, it doesn't,
Yep. That is a true statement. All right, that was legal fees, and now we're in personnel administration, which is mostly our retirement and health insurance.
Which went up 51%.
Well, we added
We added
employees
3
too.
firemen.
Yeah.
And we added 3 firemen.
Do we have 3 right now? Are they
Yeah.
all? Okay,
Yep.
good.
So I think there's,
51% for 3 people?
Crazy.
well, rate increases plus people, right?
So there's really not much there we can, these are all formula driven, we can't really,
Yep. Planning. So the planner, as I understand it, we have the new land use clerk,
Yes.
but we still need contract planning services.
Oh, absolutely.
And we are, 25 was budgeted, we're at 17, and they're proposing a $3,000 increase because,
we gotta pay them more money.
so the big
Wait,
one.
wait, so that's the planning board planner, and we call it planning board salary secretary.
The secretary is the woman who is working in the office that's also a part-time town clerk,
Right.
deputy clerk. And the planner is Stratford Regional's circuit
it.
rider.
So the one for me here was the, master plan town map. And my thinking on that is just, I'm not disagreeing that it's needed, but do we need it now? And is there actually a plan for how they're gonna approach it, what's gonna get done, how many years is it gonna take, and all of that?
There is no plan for the redoing the master plan. It was just talked about at the meeting, so we're not, if that's gonna, I mean, in my opinion, I would feel lucky, very lucky, if we actually start the conversation about what we're doing for a master plan until June.
So you're good with us taking that out?
I just don't see it with the board, the amount of cases we have in front, the ones that are still going, the meetings are, I mean, look at our agenda, every time there's 3 or 4 things on the agenda, every meeting. You know, unless they're putting workshops and getting this all planned out, which, I just don't see our master plan, which we should get our master plan updated, because it's been over 10 years, but I just don't see, again, that's a lot of time, a lot of volunteerism that goes into redoing that master plan, because at least we have one, that's better than what we did before.
Yep.
So at least we have something to updo and, do, but still, you gotta get a committee formed, you gotta get people to volunteer to do it. It's and like I said, volunteerism is dying. Getting people to step up and do things is just, everybody wants to do is just write a check and pay for somebody to do it. Except when it comes to their taxes, they don't wanna write a check for nothing. That's why we're here. It's the way it is, man. You wanna say, right? Give
So
me
is there
something.
consensus around taking the 700 out?
Yeah.
You want to take 700, 700, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And
Why
you're
don't we take the whole
leaving,
thing at 1,000?
Say drop it down to $1.
yeah,
We
take
got-
999 out?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. The
And
other,
again, it sounds stupid for the mileage, drop that down to 150, take $100 off that too. Obviously, we're not using it, cause look every year,
Yeah.
never spent it, never spent it, never spent it, never spent
So
it.
just take it out altogether, leave $1 in it
And
then.
that
Well,
one-
with
Well,
COVID,
if somebody does wanna go, we have to have something, but I don't see a mass flood of, cause even most of the members that are sitting on the planning board, have been on it for years.
Okay.
Where a lot of, it's not like we have this many new faces that say they need to go.
Gotcha. Okay.
And plus, most people that are doing it are like me and can't make any of these conferences because they schedule them on a Tuesday at 10 o'clock. Now, my job professionally is a little more important than the planning board because I need to pay my bills. So that's where a lot of people don't attend these conferences because the state doesn't make it feasible unless you're a retiree in order to get there. So, yeah, I mean, I'd say, even drop it to 100, take 150 off it, or,
how much we taking off of it?
I don't care, just take something 200.
Somebody give me a number.
150.
Take 150, yeah, there you go, leave it for a $100 line item.
Okay, the other one for me in here was the dues and conferences. No, it wasn't that one. Which one was it?
113?
That one. That one. Again, I mean, that to me wasn't, I think the biggest thing I heard about why they wanted it was voting ability. And it wasn't clear to me on exactly why or what that was that we would be voting on. We do pay, we pay to have a contract planner. So what other concrete value is this bringing that it's worth saying that we wanna put?
We put it in the budget because we thought that, what the heck? I said, and I told them, stick everything in there and see what we gotta do. But yeah, we've never, ever paid Stratford Regional, ever. Now, do I think it's wrong that we're not paying into that? Absolutely, I think it's wrong.
But how much do we utilize them?
Well, we used to have a rep that went to all the meetings. Now we just save somebody some time, because why bother go to the meetings if you're not gonna do it?
Right.
So why have, Gary Anderson was the rep for years, on the planning board, going over to the meetings they were having and stuff like this, but again, he didn't have a say or a vote. So it was almost pointless for him to go in his time, so. I
So can we
mean,
cut 6499 from that?
sure. It's something we live without, so if we lived without it before, why don't live without it now?
Yep.
Again, I still think it's wrong, but
Anybody else have anything in planning?
Dee said she'll make the meeting next week.
Great. Zoning,
Wait a minute, planning though, when I look at these, I thought these would be town services, so who are we paying to mow and shovel? We don't have the guys down at the town barn do it? Like every other town?
No, they're contracted.
wait, you're in planning?
Yeah, I'm still in the,
What line is that?
oh, excuse me, it's zoning, I'm sorry. At 126,
Okay, well, that's town hall.
yeah.
Anybody have anything in zoning? Assuming not, since it's,
It's short money.
Pretty straightforward there.
And some of it's reimbursed.
okay. all right, town hall and buildings.
Weren't we gonna rename this?
We did ask to have like the, yeah, we were, and I
Yeah.
can't remember what we said, but we also asked to have it clear, like, what does THOB mean? What is what is new FA, you know, have it spelled out what building we're specifically talking
Yeah.
about.
The difficulty then becomes, how much can you fit on that line without the, you know,
Put it in the notes, you can put it in the comments.
put it in the notes?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's fine.
that would do it.
All right, have at it. Who's got what?
Have we decided what we're gonna do in regards to cleaning aspect? If we're gonna try to do multi-buildings with a contractor, or
Yeah, I mean, that's,
that's something worth even exploring?
Well, right now, we have somebody, I tend to just keep the situation where it is, because I'm not sure how many cleaning agencies would be interested or what there is available, and I would rather not risk losing what we've got by looking somewhere else. That's kind of my feeling right now.
Okay.
That's just, you know, if she gave her notice, definitely we'd want to look at contracting, but at this point, I'm just not aware of that many contract services out there that are eager to take on more clients. If somebody has other information, let me know, and, you know, we can have a discussion.
Guess we'll come back to that, huh?
I mean, I guess the other question too, I mean, unfortunately, where we are now, the question becomes, can we change it between now and January, right?
Probably
So it's
not.
almost like you can review it, go through the process at the beginning of the year and maybe save as you're going along, but
Yeah.
we can't count on changing now.
But at this point in the year, is there any chance of spending that whole budget line?
For cleaning?
Yeah,
Wasn't she out for a period of time?
Yeah, she was.
Did we pay her while she was out? Okay, so that amount, time that she was out, we could deduct that amount from,
Although we're talking next year.
See,
Oh,
we
this
don't
is
know
all
if
right,
next
sorry.
year she'll be out. yeah.
yeah.
I
does she
was
come in,
just
3
gonna
days a
say,
week?
let's leave that line static,
No,
24.
she works roughly 30 hours a week.
Just in this building.
I believe she does the PD, and I'm not sure if she's still going up to the fire station. either.
I'd leave that then.
What's the big drivers? So the electric, the community center is a big driver, that's 10,000.
What line you on?
That's line 142. What's driving that $10,000 increase?
Cost of electricity.
Yeah, the rates have gone up like 50% or more.
And they say they're going up again this winter.
Yeah. Yeah. Thought we'd be getting more out of these solar panels, but
So basically, I mean, our total electric is going up 700, 1,800, 20, 30, like 35,000, 36,000.
50%. Which, given the fact that the generation cost went up 100%, I thought 50% was a reasonable amount. The transmission charge didn't substantially change. It's being driven by the cost of natural gas.
So here's a question for you. What do we have in, do we have lights in the parking lot at Marston?
No,
What are we running $1,500 worth of electricity for at Marston?
well, we've got the pump,
Oh, yeah.
the well.
just so
Irrigation.
you run into the well.
Okay. That's pretty much
So-
it though, right?
This time of year, you're not using much.
I know this may be insignificant, but I know that some corporations, and I know when I was in the private sector, we went around and changed all the bulbs to more energy efficient bulbs, and that actually made a difference.
Yeah, the, Eversource pays to do that, but I think these are already T8s looking at them, I'm not.
Okay.
It's to go from a 12 to something else. And
Yeah, these are fluorescent though, they're not LED strips.
right, that's the next step.
I think LEDs might be, of course, they're a little harder on the eyes because they're brighter, but,
Yeah, you can get them that are of adjustable brightness and adjustable frequency, so that you don't get the flicker that makes people's eyes hurt.
Yeah.
So,
is that even worth looking into?
Yeah, yeah.
I did it in my house.
I've done most of my house over to
Well,
LEDs.
like
So
you
it
said,
wouldn't-
though,
it
obviously we're
wouldn't-
getting shit out of solar panels. We ain't getting nothing out of solar.
No, we're not getting anything out of it.
Don't sound like it.
So I mean, that would, like I was trying to figure out if that would reduce the 50,000 or whatever. the
They
number
probably
is.
won't do anything this year.
It won't do anything because we'll have to
No.
invest in
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah,
Yeah, yep, yep.
yeah, there's usually like a 2-year payback on lights.
Yeah.
Okay.
And building maintenance,
Were we gonna put that under
Our new group, yeah,
the revolving?
well, for, not for the building, for.
Okay.
For rec.
What is this $1,500 gonna cover?
What line are you on?
124. We don't even have a guy, do we?
What?
Salary or maintenance?
Well, we did have the conversation about, do we get one maintenance person? Remember Courtney had put in.
Yeah.
And we had the conversation, should we be getting one person who can support more than just her?
But I believe we ended up cutting it the last time we spoke.
We haven't cut any.
No, her side.
Yeah, it was
Last
on the
year.
list, but you didn't make a decision.
Oh, okay, that's what I thought, all right.
I mean, we're likely to do that, but.
So what do you wanna do in regards to this one? Like $1,500, I mean, that's not a lot of money.
What is it,
And what is that really gonna cover?
what does it cover, Betsy, do you know?
Well, at one point, we had to have a maintenance person come in and do some odd things kicking around here.
So it's odd projects, it's not a
Yeah.
person.
Right.
I mean, is this something that we could, do we have a contractor thing somewhere that can absorb that?
The 128 building maintenance probably could go in there.
So I was,
Without increasing that, though?
Oh, that's already over expended with a month to go.
Line 128?
Yeah.
So what about line 130?
I just got a quick, message from somebody that, from Gary, that on line 113, we were talking about that $6,500. 10 years ago, we did pay into Stratford Regional. And then for some reason, it must have been cut somewhere, and then we haven't paid in over 10 years. Just to let you know, so we're not paying for it now anyways, but,
Good little
so I guess at one time, we did actually pay into it, but
Doesn't, okay. Help me a little bit, John, in regards to that. Why is it Stratford? Does Rockingham have anything like that?
I don't know, you know what, that question's been up. It's for, I don't know why, because it's our location of where it was, and why we go over there.
I think it had something to do like the watersheds that we exist in are more in the Stratford County geography.
Okay.
Than Rockingham.
It may also have had something to do with transportation districts, because they do a lot of stuff on transportation.
Yeah.
So it may be somebody else drew the line rather than being a county line. As you say, it's the line related to either watershed or highway, or maybe a combination of both instead of county.
So John, if I look at the total, like if I look at the bottom line at line 160 for town hall, other buildings, which is maintenance, electric, cleaning, all that stuff, we're at actuals of 125 against 150, and I'm assuming, Betsy, that there's more stuff to come in. on that.
Some, you
Okay,
know, the heating, we haven't paid heat in, a few months, so we know we're gonna have those coming in with the weather.
Yep.
The cost of the electricity just went up a couple of months ago.
Yeah, so the bottom line is that there's a $37,000 increase, and that predominantly is coming from the electrical.
And gas to some extent.
Yeah.
Well, there's no gas in there.
Well, oil, heat,
Yeah, heat, for example, line 153,
Okay. So we can't, like, there isn't a whole lot of room to cut in there,
No.
and we can't leave ourselves too tight there, because who knows what's gonna happen,
we gotta pay it.
and we have to pay it.
And you know, the other thing too is, which most people don't realize, even though we didn't do it subconsciously, but when we don't spend item, we always had that fluff money in order to do something else with. We ain't gonna have that no more. So we're not gonna be able to, whatever cut we make on these lines,
Yep.
we can't, if one line gets short, we might not have that money to go steal from someplace else to pay somebody else. I mean, that will become, sorry Betsy, but
It's true, you guys have got a budget here that's cutting it pretty close as it is, and you're
I
being
know.
asked to cut a huge chunk of change off
Just
of
the
it.
two,
We've always been very conservative on the town side.
yes, we have, yep.
it's
That's
just,
right.
this
But
year,
the
we can't.
driving cost of our tax rate is the school.
Again, but yeah, it's fine, sure. But again, you know, no one
And they
saw
don't-
last
they
year,
don't-
the fit 4% that in there, that we were gonna watch home heating oil spike. No one said about the electricity spiking. No one said about the employees and the raises that we need to get them in order to retain employees working here, and the merit things. None of that was considered when everybody said, sure, let's go with the 4%. And that is what's really is hindering everything here.
So the school is not bound by this 4%.
No, just us.
Yep.
10% of the school budget, and yet we gotta stay under a 4% cap.
Again, if you voted for it, I didn't sign it.
John, just to double check, the 264, that takes into account estimated revenues.
Just a minute, where's, what 264, line
No,
264?
back, we said, at the beginning of all this, we
Oh.
said,
The amount we have to
Lined
cut.
it up there.
No, there's 75,000 in revenue that you get to count against that.
oh,
Oh.
so it's not really 264 we have to cut. Oh, okay.
Wow, that changes
It's
things.
190. But you're at 14 right now.
Yeah.
I know, but, okay, that makes sense.
Sorry, yeah, I hadn't, I'm glad you asked that question, because it hadn't occurred to me.
I was referring that we always had it in there, because you has it marked on your sheet, number 5.
Yeah, on the calculation of the cap, there was 17. Oh, yeah, I see what you're saying.
So it looked like you already calculated it in. And that's how I was reading it, you calculated it in, so we are at a 230 number.
Yeah.
Not at a 160.
Sorry, he's right.
So we're
Right.
at 230, not 264.
We're at
232.
232, I thought was the number we were at.
Wait, not, what was the number we're starting with?
232, I think,
232 is the number that has to be cut.
right.
How did we just go from 264 to 232?
We did that early on. That was, what was that?
Well, you,
We didn't make any cuts.
No, when we were talking about adding that 225 and where we would be at,
Right, but.
yeah, we
but
originally
only-
thought it was we thought it was 232, and then we got up to 264, when in reality it's 232.
I don't understand.
because the line items at the last page went up 30 grand from when we started.
Well, we haven't taken it, I'm not asking where we are with the stuff that we've cut. I wanna know definitively what that starting number was. At the beginning of the meeting, when we said, how much over the cap
260,
are we?
yeah, at the beginning of the meeting, it was 264.5.
That shouldn't have changed. It should still be that number then. That's,
Somehow, I know we talked about 232, but I don't remember how we got there.
No, we said, cause we thought at last meeting we were at 157, then we were at 75,000, that brought us to 232, you informed us that.
Oh, yes,
we
and
added
then we had the changes in the
$30,000
budget.
more, because of the budget was added
Yep,
into the budget, was 30 grand added. So then we said, okay, that's from 232 is why we went to 264.
so we're at 264.5, that
We need a
is where
minute
we're
person
at.
now.
264.
Yeah, it's right here.
264.5, all right.
Right.
That's all I was trying to confirm.
And you're at, right now, I just added it was 14 and change.
I got us at 19.
You got it, okay, let me,
Town report was 1,900, legal fees was 10,
just a minute.
master plan map 999, planning board mileage 150, and then the planning board miscellaneous was 6499.
10, 50. Okay,
Not that it makes that much of a difference.
yeah, okay.
All right, cemeteries, anybody? Insurance department,
I don't think we can mess with those.
regional planning association,
That's
anybody
been
wanna cut that from 0 to negative? Police,
I don't think there's anything in there that,
Yeah, there's no room there. The big costs are the cruiser's equipment, and the fuel cost.
and the fire, I wouldn't cut anything from fire either. I think they're both conservative.
is there anything we can move to a warrant article?
Nothing that I'd be willing to.
The only good news with moving the fire department or police department, anything from there to a warrant article, is the fact that the town has a soft heart for both of those places.
Always pass.
And they always pass. Now, I'd hate to be the first one that we put something on there that doesn't, and it doesn't go,
Because no means no.
because don't, yes, it does, but that would be, I mean,
There really aren't any big ticket items on
I know, that's what I'm just saying, right?
I mean, the fire budget is already dropping over 43,000 from last year.
Is there anything out of the fire budget, John, that you think could go to ARPA?
Not in here,
Not
on
in
his
ARPA.
list,
Yeah,
some of those could go to APR, and some I think should be
like
differently, but.
breathing apparatus, protective gear, hydrants.
Yeah, I don't see those. I think his charging system to replace the Cascade, something like that would qualify for APR. But I don't think yes, you can use APR as long as you're not offsetting, your operating budget, but I think you're better off sticking to the big items.
Building inspector,
Not this time around, but I think at some point we need to address the mileage issue there.
also,
I strongly believe that he should not be using his own vehicle at a time when we can repurpose the police cruiser like we have with the highway department and use that as a town admin car or something, so he can use government vehicles instead of his own. I think that should be the same for anybody, but again, that's not saying we gotta do it now. That's something that should be looked at down the road.
topic for next year.
Yeah.
All right, highway,
Mowing and vegetation, he's had 30,000.
The line.
Line 261, I'm sorry, yes, 261. I would, we've talked about, what was it, they were mowing yearly for invasive species cut, the brush and all that stuff from the side of the roads for safety issues, correct? And then I know we talked about back and forth, like doing it every other year, cutting that budget in half.
I mean, I just look at the note on that one, mowing, right, it says, bills haven't come in as of 10/10. I mean, why wouldn't the bills, why don't they come in when they do the work? I mean, this is what we ran into last year.
Yeah.
We were all whacked, our numbers were all whacked off, and then we found out, like when the fire chief came in, he said, I haven't put this in yet, or whatever, so, I mean, why wouldn't they, as soon as they do it, why wouldn't they bill the town, or whatever, send the invoice?
Some people, they
Some vendors are better at what they do than how they bill.
so Betsy, that was budgeted at 30, it looks like 12 and change has come in so far.
And I have another bill that will be paid in the next go-round
How much?
for $7,500, I think.
7,500. Is that gonna be the last one, do you think?
I would imagine so.
So that would be 20?
So
Maybe
that'll
we
put it
can
up to
take 10
20.
out of that?
10 it is.
You guys okay with that?
I'm good with that.
So this is subcontract out as well then?
Yes.
Woo-hoo, we're almost at 30K.
All right, so line 264. Contracted grading services, they don't even do the entire dirt roads, correct?
I actually talked to the guy on Saturday, jokingly, this is just because he was outside, and I was outside talking to him. And I joked to him, I was like, wow, isn't it really nice that you get to do all the nice big wide roads and you leave the town with all the new acquired roads? Cause you don't wanna take your grader on that, but you're gonna do the nice, easy roads. But,
Well, the reality is that our grader would probably die if it was doing them all.
Yeah. And
Probably.
honestly, I think that grader's too big for the roads that it's going on down there. You know, if we were to keep that, I think that's something we should think about, getting a smaller one,
Well, that's
if we're gonna continue that.
It's in the CIP, right?
Yeah.
but you know, as of what Sean's been doing with the road maintenance, a lot of these, by actually repairing the roads with crushed stones and giving the road some sort of real texture instead of just being sand and dirt. You know, it's made a tremendous difference with the amount of, I mean, we used to grade all the time because you were just moving sand around in order to smoothing sand out. But now that he's put the stone and the rocks in there and created a base, the roads are staying up where you only probably have to grade 2 times a year now because he's actually
Yep.
adding the
Okay.
proper material to it, so.
And that is what his goal has been all along.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a slow process, and he's been doing it for 3 years now, or 4 years.
Yeah.
It's probably gonna still be, but, you know, just a little here, a little there, and he keeps repairing the roads where the things are, and,
Yep, he's done a great job.
you know, eventually it's gonna all get fixed, but it's, you know, he's
It's
not,
gonna take years.
yeah, but it's going in the right direction, cause you know, I
So,
live on a
alright, but-
dirt road, and I
so-
understand what it's,
Back to 264, 25,000. That next one, is that over budget, or is that what we didn't spend? What does that mean, the negative 5,000?
He's reducing the request.
He cut it back by 5.
He cut it by 5.
But could we cut it another 5?
I would think about cutting it another 5.
Based on what knowledge?
Well,
Actuals?
actually, is all those
guess
numbers
what,
in,
we
Betsy?
have to.
Betsy, are all those numbers in?
I mean, we can't even ask now for the question of why or whether we should or what we shouldn't do. We have to make a cut.
Okay, well, let's be fair though, because we
Sure.
are giving Dee the opportunity to come in and explain.
Sean can't
How-
even explain, I
Well,
mean,
hold on now, Sean's out on medical, so how's he gonna come in? And do we feel comfortable enough that Matt knows enough for him to come in to explain?
No, I wouldn't do that to him. But Betsy, again, the question is, 13,000 of 30 has come in. What do you think is gonna come in additionally?
I'm really not sure, I don't know what they've been out doing, I would imagine they're pretty well done at this point, but I
Yeah.
couldn't say for sure that I've gotten all of the bills. You know, he cut it
Well,
down
I mean-
to 25.
If you look at it, what year is that? 12,730, it only went up not even $1,000. So I think it could be safe to say we can cut another $5,000 off that.
Does everybody think?
we have to make a cut.
Yeah, I mean, these hurt, but we gotta do it.
So we're cutting an additional 5,000 out of that?
Yep.
Contracting, grading services, street sweeping, equipment rental as needed, message boards, et cetera.
I'll do some homework and see if I can come up with a rebuttal.
All right, and on line 263, this is gonna hurt, but, I mean, can we cut 10,000 out of that? To 40, cut it back to 40, because we haven't hit,
With the old equipment that we have?
Well, no,
We've
we've
got
got
it.
all new equipment now.
we've got new equipment, just like for this next year, we should be able to get back with a slightly reduced.
The oldest truck now is what, a 2014? So,
Biggest problem, truck is gone goodbye, cause we got a brand new one sitting there.
yeah.
Yeah, we've got room this
Highway
year,
equipment-
I
Equipment
think.
parts are 50,000, and then there's 60,000 to go to Allen's garage, or, that's who's gonna install this equipment, aren't they?
No, the equipment's already installed, it's already paid for out of the, warrant article. You talking about when we get the new truck?
No, no, when they talk about each line here, you have the one,
It's regular maintenance.
so, but one says for parts for the truck.
Parts are for like snow plows or,
Oh, okay.
oil filters,
Okay.
things of that nature.
Okay, all right.
Headlights, you know, things that they could take care of in the garage. The other stuff at Allen's is for like tire rotation, greasing, you know, oil changes, you know, that kind of stuff.
Okay.
Because we're not equipped at the garage to do that.
So what do we think of 40,000 on that line? Just for next year,
Well,
not for the long term.
It's
So-
never gonna go back.
say again?
It's never gonna go back,
No,
yeah,
no, once you cut it, it's never,
exactly.
Well, no, I mean,
We're gonna,
the trucks are gonna age, right, and he'll see the needs increase year by year. He'll be able to push it up as he needs to.
Let's all vote for the cap to go away next year,
Somebody's gotta write a warrant article for that.
I know.
How about 5? Cut 5.
Cut 5.
Can I put in my 2 cents? If you look down for supplies, it's
cutting
over
maintenance on
budget,
brand new
and
equipment.
the other one's
could void the warranty.
under budget, so if you kinda
Can you
make
say
it,
that again, please, Betsy, sorry?
the highway supplies and the highway parts,
Yeah,
one of them's over, one of them's under, maybe if you just cut 5 instead of 10, it would kinda
Which is when,
even it out.
so 263 is
266
under,
and 263,
over. So cut 5 from 263.
yeah.
All right, I can live with that.
And not five, and cut 5 from 264?
No, leave 264,
So we're just basically just we're not, so it's, everything's still the same.
yeah, leave the
No, we-
supplies
no, we
account
just-
alone
we
and just
took
cut
5
that.
out. We just got 5.
She's
out.
talking
Yeah.
266.
Yeah,
I thought we were taking 5 of 264 and taking 5 off 263 for 10,000. But now
Yeah.
we're still at the same 5.
No, no,
That's
no,
what she
no.
just said.
No, she was talking about,
263 and 5 for 264,
Right, 10,000.
Right.
Perfect.
Oh, for each of them, okay,
5 for each, right.
got it.
5 each.
We're not moving the 5.
so you want 5,000 taken out of 265? Did I hear that? That's,
64 and 263,
okay, all
and
right.
then 265 as well, or just 64 and 63?
If, I just wanna throw it out there, if you start cutting from the maintenance part of the thing, with these vehicles being newer, it could void the warranty. Cause they're not being maintained properly.
So Betsy, what, I agree. Betsy, what 2 lines did you say, 63 and 65?
now 66 is the supplies line, and that one's over this year.
So
And then
leave
you
that.
have the parts line,
263,
which is under, so instead of taking 10,000 for the parts, kind of cut it for the 5,000 instead, due to the fact that the supplies
so
line is
just 5
over.
from
and
that
they can
one
be-
line.
Right,
Yeah,
So 5 from 263,
right.
but we had already talked about 5 from 264 as well.
Yes,
Yep.
that's,
Yes.
that was an earlier discussion.
yeah, yeah.
Got it, okay,
266 is the supplies line.
got it.
There's no wiggle room there, cause they need that, the 8,000 difference is purely for that pressure washer that they have to replace.
Right.
So you're taking 20,000 out of highway at this point.
Yeah,
I have, yes.
so far.
Is there any, like this, that pressure washer they want? Is there any other source of, you know, the highway fund or anything like that that could pay for that?
ARPA,
Already got so much on ARPA already.
I know, you got other items that are bigger items in ARPA, really.
Okay,
Cause I mean, I done my research on it, I spoke to the guys, and, yeah, that is something they really could use.
no, right, but you know, I was gonna just say, this is probably terrible to say this out loud, but I'm gonna say it anyways. Just be shocked at this one. Is there any way we get the fire department, can you, if that's a new,
I see where you're going with this.
you know, you give to, say, I guess I wouldn't fall under, impact fees, cause you couldn't, I mean, even though you're buying new equipment for the fire department, get them to buy a pressure washer, then give it over to the,
How's the fire department taking
I
care of
hear
their
you,
equipment?
I hear what you're saying, but no.
How's it?
They're really detailed. I mean, they wipe them down every time. I mean, they were wiping down things when I was there.
Yeah, but I mean,
I
if
mean,
they're
they don't
out,
let it get dirty at all.
if they're out in the weather and stuff, I mean, they got a power washer, how do they do it? They do it inside the bay?
I haven't been there to watch, I don't know.
So what are they using? They've gotta be using something like this.
I have
What do
no
they
idea.
So
do?
why
the
can't
wa-
they share? Why can't the two departments share?
Here's the question, if they're washing vehicles inside that garage, where does the water go?
Yeah, that's-
There's drains. There's drains.
Okay, well, here's the problem then. Do those drains have an oil separator in them? And do you have a separate oil separator tank that's?
Guess what? We're not washing anything in the, as far as I know, we don't want nothing inside the garage, so that's,
All right.
That becomes an issue.
right, so I don't think I've seen anything washed in there. I know
If
they
they
wipe 'em
wash
down,
and it
though.
runs outside, that's not an issue, but if you're putting it underground, then it comes under, a DES.
Yeah, so, okay, but moving on.
All right, anything else under highway?
No, I don't, we can't touch sand, gravel, stone because of the supplier increases. We can't touch salt because of the supplier increases. We can't touch fuel because of those increases.
Yeah, I actually think he may be low on fuel, but he's got,
All right,
Engineering consulting, are those all paid for this year?
I believe so.
So maybe we cut $5,000 there.
what does he have coming up that he might
Yeah.
need that for?
We've got those 3 culverts.
he's got 3 culverts he's gonna need $100,000 in engineering for.
And again, we can tell Sean what he can, what covered, I mean, I'm still on one of his culverts. I'm not at all a fan of it. So I actually drove by it the other day.
You're
and
not a
let me
fan of
tell-
culverts?
No, I'm not a fan of what he wants to spend and what he needs engineering to do for it, but
He doesn't have much choice if he needs a wetlands permit.
I know, I'm,
And in fact, sometimes he's getting kicked up to Army Corps of Engineer, having at least a review.
All right, shim and seal coat,
I think we should take a
well,
portion
you wanna
of
cut
that.
$2,000 off that line, just to say we cut something?
which line was that?
The engineering consultant. And we gotta start cutting $2,000 off a lot of these things. You know, and
We've already
500s
cut
and
20,000
two
from
things.
them.
Oh, we still haven't got, I mean, again.
And we're just now gonna be touching the, shim and seal coat, and I was gonna make a recommendation, we're gonna cut a substantial amount out of that.
And put it into a warrant article, I hope.
That's what I was getting at. Not all of it, though. Well, it may come to all of it, depends on where we,
Well, we can just stop, I mean, move on, just,
All right, shim and seal coat. That warrant article is typically 300, right?
Yes.
And this line has always been 300 as well.
Wanna cut it 300?
What's that?
Cut it 300?
And then we're done for the night.
yeah, pretty much at that point.
yeah, the Bruins are on.
No, I don't care about that, just, I
Are
don't
you
know.
serious?
Yeah, why not? If it was 300, they're gonna be on a warrant article. I mean, we haven't been done.
So then, that turns that warrant article into a 700,000,
No,
or 600,000.
600.
Let me tell you why you don't wanna do that. Because if the voters vote no, you can't do any paving if you don't have a line in here for it. So one of the reasons that you need to leave money in here is in case they vote no on the warrant article, you need a fallback where you have in the budget something that you can expend for work that comes up that needs, a road falls apart and you have no choice. So, I mean, if you wanna cut, you wanna transfer, let's not use the word cut, transfer money from here to a warrant article, just don't transfer it all. Leave enough here so we can do some work if the warrant article fails.
I think the taxpayers it'd be easier for them to swallow 400,000 warrant article than 600,000.
Yeah, I think we also have to be mindful of, Sean has a plan. Right, and we don't want to put it in a position where, 4 years from now, the roads throughout town are crap. right? Because we've handcuffed him with what he can do. So, I mean, and actually I talked to Sean about this and cutting that line, and he was like, he's okay if that gets cut as long as we push it to the warrant article. So,
Yeah.
I think that's a fair strategy for us.
I would be in favor of 100,000,
So move 100,000 to the
yes,
warrant article for the
yes.
reconstruction? The
No,
war-
shim and seal
The
coat.
sh-
No, for the, moving 100,000 to the reconstruction warrant article.
Is that the warrant article?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how it's worded.
Okay.
Okay.
How's everybody feel about that?
It scares me that it's that much, but at least we're pushing it to the warrant article.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so he's not, the possibility he won't lose it.
Yeah. And we'll just have to be able to make the case.
Right.
All right, so we're taking 100,000 from that.
What are we up to now?
139.
Out of,
We have, let's,
Well, $100,000 is a lot of money.
we got 124 more to go. Is that right?
When you say we're up to 139, did you count that we put 5,000 in, so we went the other way in the first?
I did not. What was
Okay,
that
that's why your number is, I'm at 134.
Okay.
Yeah, we had to add 5,000 at the very first line for salary for the town. So, yeah, so I have 134.
Rec dues and conferences, that one could be cut.
So we took 100 from Shim and Seal,
Tell ya.
Yeah,
but we didn't look at 280.
Well, I thought it was line 280 that you were doing it from.
280 is 281.
281 is a summary of 280.
280.
Oh, all
Same
right,
number,
okay, all right.
Sorry, I got confused on that too the first
Holy
time.
crap.
hey, John, wait, I'm sorry, what did we add 5,000 back in for?
Salary.
Town administrator salary. Line 1, two, line 2.
All right, so we've got 129 and 52 to go.
No, 130, yeah, okay, how much to go? Yeah.
Yeah, to go.
So we're halfway there?
Sorry.
But we're more than halfway through the list.
All right, recycling center.
didn't the Bobcat die?
It's at the dealer, I haven't heard how bad it is, because the dealer hasn't got to it last I knew.
It's in rough shape.
We're renting a backhoe right now. That, I think, is an opera, you need to buy a backhoe.
Yeah, but it's supposed to be in the CIP for replacement this year. So that's gonna be a warrant article anyways, right?
Yep.
Well, if you do it with opera, you could replace it sooner. And, the fact we're paying, what is it, 5,000 a month for the rental, something like that?
Yeah, it's crazy money.
Wait,
Crazy
that's-
money.
That's not in the CIP for this year.
No?
Oh, backhoe.
Yeah, it is.
Backhoe, sorry.
Yeah, 125,
In the peach.
Got it.
yeah.
All right, recycling center, is there anything anybody sees?
So that was my thought here, oh, never mind, no, that was level funded, never mind. I saw that 16,000 and change, and I thought there was something to cut there, but crap. Yeah,
Why are
there's-
the telephone bills so steep at all of our departments? I don't understand.
Internet.
Their telephone and the internet.
Probably
And
should,
cell phones, they're all rolled into one.
Yeah, I don't, that's what I'm wondering, do we go out and shop it? Do we put it some, hey, bring us an RFP, tell us what you can do the whole town for? I don't think we do. Obviously, I mean, all these things are way up there, like that insurance. I mean, it's mind-boggling that the insurance is going up that much. And these, like, again, the internet, why aren't we all tied into one bill to the town for all entities besides the school?
or they bill by where it's delivered. Now, one thing we are looking at, because Tom asked us to do so, from the budget committee, is is there a way we could use the internet here to feed through a Wi-Fi device, the highway garage?
No. No, it doesn't have that kind of reach.
No,
We could run a private fiber optic line between here and the town shed, but, you know, fiber optic is pricey. But you do it once and that's it.
Yep.
But then they could share the internet connection.
How
But
would we
then
run a line? We have,
A fiber optic.
Rent space on the telephone poles.
Yeah, yeah,
Tony, I've heard of this thing, it's called dial-up modem.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I used to get a disc from or whatever.
Yeah, AOL,
Yeah, AOL.
Oh my God.
yeah.
Okay, recycling center, anybody see anything?
No.
So here's the thing, one of the reasons we put internet in at the recycling center was for real-time monitoring of the security cameras, right? But nobody's sitting there watching it every day. If there was a storage, I believe there's a storage appliance on site. And really, the real value in the security cameras is for the historical footage. So if somebody breaks in and steals the money overnight, then, you know, then an officer can go and check the footage from the night before. But nothing is gonna happen where you need to have somebody watching those cameras remotely all the time. So the point being, you can run the cameras without the internet connection.
But are you storing on site so they'd steal the
That's my point.
storage device?
They wouldn't know what it was. You know what I mean? If you're, you know, if you're breaking in, looking for money and
these guys are Ocean
valuables,
11.
you know, if you look at a NAS, a network attached storage array, you're not gonna know what that is. It looks like a toaster. Nobody's gonna care about a toaster.
silver and shiny, they might.
They come in all shapes and sizes, but
Yeah.
point being, nobody's, you know, they'd have to understand what it was and what it could do to even have an inkling about taking it.
Okay.
May I speak?
Yeah,
When
Quickly.
I went to, Stephen, so, when I went to the recycling center, they used the internet there so that they didn't have to come down here to do their paperwork. That was the original genesis of the internet for the recycling center.
And-
That's what I believe it was.
Yes, they're using the internet to schedule pickups and all the rest of that stuff, as well as signing in and out of payroll.
So there's other uses for it.
In other words, yeah,
All right.
okay, animal control department. General assistance department.
Can we just go back, well, I guess that's a topic for another day.
No, what, did you have a cut?
No, I was thinking that maybe the animal control should fall in the police services. And not a separate altogether.
It is a separate individual.
Right, but instead of being separate, it should be like most towns, it's incorporated with police services.
So we're just gonna categorize it under the budget of the police department?
Yeah. I know she's not gonna like that, but, you know,
Okay.
that's why I said,
Your list for next year is growing.
yeah.
General assistance. So we had 10,000 budgeted this year and we've spent 13. And the ask is for 16. Right?
How did we go over?
What's the note?
Oh, we're gonna go over even more if we, she's working really hard to avoid it, but we got some more expenses coming in here.
And unfortunately, with the cost of everything going up, we liable to get more.
Fuel, electricity, rent, those things. Right now, you're getting hit pretty hard when you get one.
Yeah, I think this is one that like, sitting here, we can't appreciate how important this money
Yeah.
is.
Are we talking about the,
The general
General
assistance, the
assistance.
welfare line.
312 is the roll-up, the total.
What's the note, though? What's that mean? 11,000 was for recreation hardship.
There are low-income families in town that
Oh, yeah,
get
okay.
scholarship
Yep.
to send their kids to summer camp so that they can go to work.
That was an explanation for why we're running so far over on actual, and it also then feeds into recreation where it is in the recreation budget this year, but last year it came out of welfare. So I think that's gonna be a discussion when we get to recreation.
Well, recreation is where the money is in scholarships. And scholarships is something.
Okay.
But, so general assistance, anybody have any comments on that?
No.
And then the next one is going into social services.
Could put all of those as warrant articles.
They used to be warrant articles, actually.
I assume at one point they were. But, I mean, they do a lot of good for what they are, so.
We use all of these, right?
Weren't we supposed to get, some information as how much Nottingham benefits from that? Wasn't that one of the
I
criteria?
asked about it.
A file full of their responses. Every year they have to send us, if they wanna continue, and, they send us how many people in Nottingham is, what they do, yada, yada, yada.
If we wanted to do it as a warrant article, and we used to do it as a warrant article, I mean, you wouldn't do 12 warrant articles.
No, you do one for all of them.
Okay. So it would be one warrant article for 25,000.
I have to go back and look and see.
So now you,
They did.
again, trust me, I'd vote for the warrant articles, not like this,
Yeah.
but you have to take under that pretense that if the warrant article fails, that how many residents is this gonna affect? Does it affect 50 residents? Does it affect 1,500 residents?
Well, there, in fact, too, it also, some of these organizations help out with the police department. And in one case that John was talking about is helping others, residents in town with their electricity, so that's money that we don't have to come up with.
And this is a tiny fee compared to what we can get back.
Yes.
Yep. So, for all those reasons, it's best to
Hey,
leave it
again, I
there.
wouldn't cut anything out of our budget.
I know, no,
Whatever.
I was just going back to your opening comments about let's cut and make people deal with the consequences of being, I'm just saying it, I'm not saying I don't support this.
Yeah,
but-
I think when we make people deal with the consequence, we don't want to start out with those that are least able to handle the
Sure, yeah,
consequences.
yeah, that's fine. I agree. Anybody have any comments on that, or wanna?
So, are we suggesting that we move these all to a warrant article? No, we're gonna leave them, okay.
Yeah, I mean, the no means no is the tough one there, particularly if they're all one warrant article.
Yep.
All right. Everybody's favorite.
Be nice to poor Courtney.
I know.
She's the only one that's making us money, so what the hell?
I mean, I think one of the ways we could start here is what could be moved to a warrant article?
Well, I think the one issue I would have with salaries, it's not so much moving to a warrant article
Oh, I'm
as
sorry,
it would be a revolving fund.
That's what I meant. I remember
Okay,
revolving
yeah.
fund. I think need warrant article.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, you had me confused.
Yeah, no, I meant revolving fund.
So, but the maintenance person, while we need it, that really couldn't come out of the revolving fund article, in my opinion.
So we're gonna cut the maintenance person.
I don't know what
Don't
you're
have
going to
to.
do, but it would be handy if we had one, to do projects. We hire outside contractors, and
Position last year.
we sometimes have people that are over-skilled at what they're doing, shall we say. Just as an example, we're gonna have, an electrician come in tomorrow and give us quotes on doing some things that, if you had a maintenance person, they probably could do it, but we don't, so we're gonna be paying an electrician, master electrician to do it.
Well, let's look at some of this, right? Because we talked about the lifeguards, right? And
We
then-
know we're not gonna hire any of those.
Well, no, I mean, that's, move it to the revolving fund. Move lifeguard salaries to the revolving fund.
Was there enough cash flow into that fund to support half of,
Right now,
the,
they have 340.
It was 87,000 more this year added. That's the cash flow.
okay.
Yeah, I know Courtney wanted a gate there. Is that something that the revolving fund could pay for, to eliminate the gatekeepers?
You know what? The two gatekeepers that are actually doing it right now are great people. And they
Oh,
don't
yeah,
mind it.
I don't want,
Well, it's the gate, the gatekeepers are $800, and then the gate was 7,000. Right,
So we can almost get 10 years out of these guys before we get that
Yeah.
mechanical.
okay, so how do we feel about moving the lifeguards to the revolving fund?
well,
What is
I
this?
think,
What's
yeah,
his salary, though? It doesn't even list theirs, does it?
lifeguards
Does the
are,
town beach qualify for revolving rec,
Yeah,
Summer
summer programs?
program.
right, because she's planning to get campers over there and stuff,
So
so.
it's
Campers' money.
$7,000.
yeah, I'd say move that to the revolving fund. Gatekeepers too.
Gatekeeper, can we do that? That's 800.
Is that something we can do, John?
I believe that you can, move the, I'm sorry, I got behind. The lifeguards, you're moving to revolving rec.
Yeah,
Was there another thing you were moving?
The gatekeeper?
Oh, the gatekeeper. Yeah, I suppose you could, yeah.
What about the assistant director?
Yes,
how much of the assistant director?
All of it.
Right now, 50% of her pay goes into revolving rec.
So it would be the half of the 23.
So that 23
that
is
is half.
actually the half.
Oh, so that could, we could
That's-
switch that to the rec revolving as well.
Good.
Do it.
and I assume you're cutting the maintenance person out of this line.
And how much was that?
17.
17.
Do we wanna put that on a warrant article? I mean, we've, 2 years, the
We could, we
last two.
can't find anybody, you know,
Right,
how,
right, but the last 2 years, we've asked her to wait on that,
I
right?
mean, what would the maintenance guy do in rec, though? This is what I thought was before, the guy was gonna be half rec, half maintenance, half work for the town.
It was.
He or she, I should say.
I think the assumption is still that it would be half rec and then I think half highway.
highway, yeah.
Right, and it's the fact that Courtney is going up and emptying trash barrels. And you have people who break windows and Courtney's out there picking up the glass herself and that kind of stuff.
And what they did to the trail, she was out there trying to fix, and stuff at the beach, and Marston, and
Now, the only thing I'll say, I am not comfortable with getting into the habit of moving people to warrant articles.
Yeah,
Well, maybe the initial hire of a maintenance person could be in a warrant article, but then you're gonna have a cap problem the following year.
Right.
But the
well,
committee,
unless it's worded like the firemen, where it becomes, if it's approved, then it becomes a part of the regular budget.
Yeah, I don't know how many times you're going to be able to do that. This being the first year, it's understandable, but it, yeah, it's a possibility. So I think we've kind of moved around. Can I get how much you're moving from the salary line for gatekeeper, lifeguard, and the assistant director to revolving rec?
Yep, I can do that. So we are moving, 7,000 for the lifeguards to rec revolving fund. We're moving 800 for the gatekeeper. And then 23,000 for the, rec assistant director. We're under 100,000 to go.
Okay, so we'll have to add, and what are you doing about the maintenance person?
What has she got in here for that salary? I don't see.
17.
17,000,
17.
part-time April to October for $20 an hour.
Do we,
It's 17 grand.
do we cut it so that she gets some hours?
You're saying we can't put that on the revolving fund, right?
As described, repairing stuff that's used in recreation, you could put it in revolving fund. To the extent that the person is, you know, repairing the old town hall or this building or the fire station or something like that, it couldn't be in
What's the-
revolving rec.
The plan for this came up last year.
Yeah.
For the same person. And that the plan was that this person would be working for Courtney for X amount, and then he'd be a part-time highway department guy working over there.
Yeah.
So that means the snow shoveler would be the same guy. You know, she's got April to October, but then this guy also becomes now, or female, whoever it is, not being biased one way or the other, would be the snow shoveler that we're looking for to, you know, out here, that we asked for $15 an hour right now, which we're not finding that guy either, so.
Yeah.
You know, but that was gonna be, so we could have a full-time employee, he'd just be, well, right, part-time all year round, though,
Can
so
we
it's not gonna be
reduce any of the
seasonal.
other maintenance lines? If we bring somebody in?
I don't think you're gonna save a lot of
Right
money,
now,
I
you
think
just
you're gonna
use
get more
maintenance guy for
done.
rec.
That's my expectation.
But those
That's
maintenance
why
lines
he's
can
saying
be
you can't
used
put
to
it in
cover
The
anything
materials.
that
Overwork,
person does
can't go
outside of rec,
Fire station, none of that.
right?
Yeah,
Right?
yeah,
Right, just,
well.
Because right now, that money's budgeted and we're paying contractors at a premium, so that money would go a lot farther if we had someone in-house.
Right. Yes, I think
So-
the money would go further if we had somebody in-house that,
But are they maintenance, or
Experience.
are they, you know, teaching
Well, no,
kids how
so
to
this
shoot basketball?
17,000 would cover the rec side of their work, right? But these other maintenance lines in the different departments that we're really burning up on contractors, paying a premium for a contractor, we wouldn't be paying that premium for our own in-house person.
If he was he or she were in-house 100% maintenance, not snow shoveling, or I should say, you could do that.
Yeah.
Out plowing for the town, out,
Well, not plowing.
or doing whatever, I mean.
Yeah, yeah, but they
that's
could,
what I
like,
don't
you know,
I thought it
fix
was
light
explained that the
bulbs and-
person would also work and rec, like with the kids,
No,
certain times of the
no,
year.
no.
No, it's like a handyman.
Yeah,
So-
goes down, takes care of the beach, takes care of the shed down
Mows the lawn at Marston, mows the
Lawns,
lawn
empties
around this
trash.
building, I'd have no problem.
so it
No,
sounds to
he's
me
not
like.
gonna mow the lawn at Marston.
cause the town doesn't own the equipment for, to put the guy on. So we don't have a lawnmower that's
We're not
gonna do
give
that,
a
so.
push lawn
I'd
mower.
give them a pair of garden
Saying
shears.
that, not saying that, I mean, that's what we should be thinking of in the future.
So how much of the maintenance person do you want to keep
Can
and to
I
put?
just ask a
I'm
question?
sorry, yes.
Does that maintenance person belong under rec, or should it get moved under the town hall buildings?
That's what I think.
Yeah.
I think it should move under the town hall buildings.
Yep,
Yeah.
So do we want to put in $17,000 in the town hall buildings for maintenance? And we can for a maintenance person, we can ask John and Betsy to go and look at all the maintenance lines and see what, if anything, would be offset by having a person in there.
I don't
Would it be
see a lot
part-time
of-
year-round or full-time?
I think that position could quickly become a full-time, because these buildings are aging.
If
We
find
could
a
start it off
If we
at,
find somebody.
We could start.
we could start it
part-time.
off at
And
part-time and
well, we have
as,
the committee now, right, that's looking at these things too, that's gonna give us a good indication too of what we might need.
And they're due to come back.
Yeah, I mean, we could start part-time, right, at least for this year coming up.
We still gotta try to hire somebody. We can put it in
well, that's
anywhere.
it would take us at least 6 months to find somebody to begin with.
Right, right.
So,
So if we go up to town hall buildings, we had on, I'm trying to find the line 125, that maintenance salary line we discussed at 1,500. I suggest you just bring that up to 10,000 by adding 8,500, and we'll give a start at it.
Which line is it, John?
125.
120, wait a minute, that's,
So,
I'm sorry, that's a, 124.
Yeah.
So
125.
increase that by,
8,500 to 10,000.
so that's saving us,
Not saving us anything.
well, it's saving us,
We'll take 17 out of rec, that will save you,
well, 17,000, 7,000.
how much was the, yeah, it'll save you the difference between that and rec was asking for,
Rec is asking for 17,000, so we,
$8,500.
so we drop that back to 8,500
so we save 8,500.
Exactly.
out of rec.
So we're taking 7,000 out of rec,
No, we're taking
17,000.
17,000.
I'm sorry, 17,000 out of rec, but we're adding 8,500 to line 124.
Yeah,
Okay.
Oh, let me just make note of that.
But Courtney will still be able to leverage this person for what she needs, right?
Sure.
Yeah,
Okay.
but it'll be a prioritization.
If somebody has the time to go follow this, whoever we hire around, to make sure they're doing what they're supposed to be doing, then obviously
jump
that
right
person
in.
should be
I
doing
think
it.
there'll be enough to do that.
I think
yeah.
he's fine.
what was that line again? I've already,
124.
124.
We're down to 90,000, guys.
It's just not hire a town admin.
So what was the total that was moved out of line 33 to recreation fund? It's 878, 30,800, is that the total?
Where are you?
Yes, it's 30,800 for the, lifeguards, the gatekeepers, and assistant recreation director.
What did you say it
30.
was?
30,800.
And then you add the
To the rec
8,500
revolving
to
fund.
it.
Well, no, the 8,500 is going to line 124.
Right, but the total of line 330, 332, is going to be cut 39,300, correct?
So are we putting the other 80, the other half of that maintenance person into the rec revolving fund?
No.
No.
Oh, okay, okay, all right, I just wanted to make sure I didn't miss anything.
All right, so John, I've got us at 173,848 total cuts with 90 and change to go.
You have us at,
My computer's gonna,
somehow
battery's gonna die, I keep forgetting to bring my power cord.
you have us at how much?
I've got us at, we've cut 173,848.
I don't think you have the 85 we added back
I
in.
did.
Did you?
Yep.
Because I'm at 165,348. Just a minute, maybe I don't have it in there, just a minute. No, I put it in, I put on line, line 124, I added 85.
Yep.
I took out, then in revolving, in the recreation line, is it 39,300.
39,300. How did you get 39?
There's 30,800 going to the revolving rec fund, and 8,500 is coming out for the maintenance person not being in rec. That's the 8,500 we're different.
But we also increased line 125 by 85.
So in other words,
Right, so you add 85 there, but it was 17,000 total.
So,
in the-
so, did you?
So out of line 332, it's a grand total of 47,800 that we're taking out of that line. But
So-
8,500 of it goes back into one,
Yes, okay,
back into 124.
yep, you're right, so that's,
So are you at 182 then? John, is what we've cut?
47,800, I think you're, Tony,
47,800.
yeah, and
So I
that
think your
then-
number's right.
Because I just had to add 8,500 back in, but then also take 8,500 out.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay, so I've got 182,384, which means we got 82 left to go.
just typed something wrong here. So we've cut 173,848, that's what we're agreed on at this point?
I've got 182. So John, if we go down the list,
Okay, just,
town report was reduced by 1,900,
yes.
legal fees by 10,
Legal fees by 10, yes.
master plan mapping by 999.
We also cut mileage by 100,
That was next on my list.
okay, yeah,
Planning board miscellaneous, 6499.
yeah,
Highway mowing vegetation, 10.
yeah,
Highway equipment, 5.
yeah,
Highway equipment parts, 5.
yeah,
Ship and seal code, 100.
yeah,
We added back in, and this wasn't in the order, but we added back in 5 for the TA salary.
yeah,
We moved $7,000 of the lifeguards to rec revolving fund, 800 for the gatekeeper, 23 for the assistant director. Then I had 17, the maintenance person was 17, we moved out, right?
yep.
And then we.
Added 8,500 back to the
Added
maintenance.
8,500. So 173,848. I double counted, got it.
Yep. Okay, so,
Got it. We're in sync. So 90,000 left to go, guys.
And we're gonna get it now.
Okay. The other one for me was, and I think the rec scholarship hardship should be something else that we move to the revolving fund,
Where's that?
line 340,
It's $11,000.
yeah.
I thought that was the 11,000 just for the emergency or for the kids to go to rec, right? They just turned into a scholarship? We just had. the
It's for
11
those who are hardship cases
Yeah.
for
Oh,
the,
it's
for the camp.
341.
Yep,
Yeah,
It's
that-
missing a number.
yep.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
missing the number?
Yeah, the
Oh, I
line
see.
number,
Okay, yeah.
yeah, it goes
So if we do the
340.
11,000 scholarship, then it won't come back into the other, or it could, I guess.
Back into,
Where the 11,000 was originally, it was in the,
Welfare.
assistance. Yeah,
what line number is that?
341.
no, it's up here in three, I
Oh, the,
don't know what note it is, it's either 306 or
it was in general assistance,
That's where we spent it out of.
Yeah.
But it
previously.
wasn't
It's
budgeted
not,
in
it's
there.
not budgeted there.
Right,
No.
right.
Right,
yeah, okay.
so, we're taking 11,000 out of line,
341. I'm putting it in rec revolving fund.
Yep.
Donna,
Yeah,
can I ask you, what's the genesis of the rec revolving fund? Where does that come from?
so it was started in, gosh, was it 94?
Somewhere in there.
Somewhere in there, and basically what it says is that money that is, taken, income, basically, revenue from programs goes into this special fund, and then money for programs can come out of that. So, it's separate from the operating budget.
It helps the rec, like, be more self-sustaining in the various programs that they offer, instead of going to the taxpayers for a,
So the rec department makes money on certain things, puts it in
Yeah,
Yes,
some
yeah.
camp,
yeah.
people pay fees, that
there?
kind of stuff.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's why John said they're the only ones that are making us money. I think I know how this is gonna go over, but in the interest of really throwing stuff out there, Courtney included $5,000 to have the bandstand fixed.
I think we can probably drum up some support in the community. I've already been talking to some folks to volunteer some time and materials to fix it. Hopefully I can shore that up fairly quickly so that we can move on that.
So do we
So cut it.
What line was that?
338.
8,
All right,
and that was for 5,000?
yep. I hate to go any deeper on Courtney. She's doing an amazing job. She's doing a lot of good for people of all ages.
Of all ages.
Yep.
But what, I mean, she asked for the 5, not just for that, though, she's asking for, you know, wants to get some trash cans and tools, picnic tables.
Yeah, I was just picking out the 5.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Right.
Anybody else, anything on rec?
No.
Okay, library.
We have, what, 2 or 3 librarians?
One.
Just one? No part-time, no nothing?
I mean, how many people are employed by the library, or the librarian is a single person?
Yeah.
Then you have the 2 assistants that actually are there, work part-time for her.
Oh, okay.
And we are actually underpaying our librarian according to standards of what the local librarians are being paid. She is underpaid.
And they did a good job on their presentation on that
presentation.
point.
She did a good job when she needed the, elevators worked done stuff.
Guess what? No, elevator's broken, this isn't fixed yet. They haven't got it.
They haven't got it and they can't use the elevator.
Yeah, so there's no elevator in the building.
Historical Society,
Feeling like a $500 we're gonna take from them.
Bury them.
Jesus guys.
Actually, we're gonna overspend their budget on them. We're putting a, expansion of the internet system. I think Friday they're coming to fix the gym for internet access and out front of the building, so we project that will take care of, getting internet to that building out there. That's what
Use it
Back
one day
Bay
a week.
thought would enhance the signal enough so they could get it.
Yeah, but during that day there, they have the kids that come in, during the school time. And in order to show them stuff and, you know, questions they need to go answer, you know, they use the internet to go and look it up and say, here, this is what it is and this is where it is. And,
Okay.
for other historical things, you know, it's much more time consuming, you know, I mean,
I think
Have
it's
the internet
$800.
there to get your
It's not a
information.
lot.
how much
$800.
for the year?
No, yeah, one-time cost, the installation.
So guys, all we got left is Conservation Commission.
There's nothing there to cut.
Hey, I have a question.
Hey, I think we've done very well, considering. Yes, we still have more to do, but that could.
Yeah, yeah, I mean,
Do
you
you have
could-
any leftover money from the 300th? Cause I know they did a great job selling for all the stuff that they got and, you know, what
They do.
things.
They do,
They do have extra money left over.
yes.
Where does that money go?
That is the question.
Yeah, they'd like to put it into a fund for the next,
So wasn't that an ETF or something, expendable trust fund?
Yes, it is.
Yes.
So when it is quote unquote expended, it expires, cause it had a life to it. It had a shelf life. So that should, I would think it would go back
I
to,
don't think the language of it said that it expired.
I think what you need to do is to have a warrant article if you want it to return to fund balance. If you want to put it to a new purpose, I think you need 2/3 vote, but you'd vote to change it from the 300th to the 325th, or you'd change it to, you know,
yeah.
that's what they wanna do.
I think we'd
Historical
have an
Society or
easier
something.
time
Well,
sending
however
it back
we
to
do it,
fund balance
5
than we
years.
would to something else.
it might be easier to send it back to fund balance
50.
and then using fund balance
Oh,
establish or do
275 was,
something if that's what you wanted.
275, you know,
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
I don't know if
That's
325
clean.
rings a real bell and saying,
Yeah, I don't
we're at
So,
325, you know?
John, you
Kingsley did a
probably,
big
you
one for
probably can't
325.
answer this, but I'm wondering, like, we said we had to cut 264.5 to get to the 4% tax cap. If we've still got 75-ish to go, do you have any idea where that might put us relative to the tax cap? Like, does that put it at 5% versus the 4, or?
Oh, I understand the question now. 4% of the tax cap was percent is basically 25,000, so it doesn't make sense. I'll have to think about that. I'm not quite,
So maybe given these cuts that we've made, you can go back and take a look and say, okay, this is where you are.
they're 75,000 over.
Yeah, but what's the percentage relative to, you can't be over 4%.
Right, so,
It's a 0.01%, what is it?
Yeah, like, are we if we're at 5%, do we wanna say here, budget committee? Right?
Yeah.
Speaking of fund balance, what kind of surplus are we looking at, leftovers for the end of the year?
Do not know off the top of my head. I will.
Because even if, like, if we had enough where we could even just drop 100,000 in budget surplus, right? That would carry us across the finish line.
To pay down the
but
tax
that-
rate?
Yeah,
but that would then bite you the following year in
Yeah.
'24, because you'd be double hitting, you'd need to come up with
Exactly.
that amount.
I'm not here. Just kidding.
All in favor?
That's a new tax.
Hey, there's those of us that still live
State
in this
hasn't come
place,
down with it yet,
please.
because the school
I'm
delayed
not,
it.
We only have three of them
All right, so I just wanna
then.
say
That was the school one, I thought.
that I think that this was really
What a big
good
thing.
work.
They lowered the school one big.
yeah, we've narrowed it down really tight.
Take it, huh?
So I think that this was really good work. I think we've got a list that we don't need, we can vote on it next week, but I sense general consensus with everything that we've come up with here. I'm hard pressed to see what else we can cut.
I think it's a miracle to hit 4% in a year that's seen 10% plus inflation.
And I'm sorry to say that even though what we said we cut, when you take 100,000, you put it to a warrant article, it's just cheating the 4%, so.
That's one of the tools we have available to
I know
us.
it is, I'm just
Yeah.
saying though, it's just,
I mean, that's a mechanism built into the tax cap laws
Yeah.
that you can exceed it if you give those things to the voters and let them decide, so.
All right, so I think the next step then is to see where we are relative to the tax cap.
in other words, you wanna know what the percent is.
Yeah, if 4% is our target, where are we right now with the cuts that we've made?
When do you think we'll actually have a new tax rate?
Hopefully tomorrow.
Anybody available to come in and sign?
Well,
All of you?
let's wait,
Let us
it
know
would be
when-
best if
But
we had
then
it
when we
tomorrow.
get-
Well, let me
when
just
we get
check,
the
see if
tax
anything
rate-
changed.
When we get the
Right
current
now.
tax rate, then that's the number we'll be using to
It's because of all the house prices went up.
Okay.
finagle it out, you know what I mean?
So,
It's not set yet.
so guys,
Everybody
guys,
get-
Could that hurt us?
just so you know,
No,
they're still waiting on the final tax rate from DRA. Hopefully, if they have it tomorrow, at least 3 of us have to get in here right away to sign so that the tax collector can get those bills out.
I wouldn't be able to get in until the evening.
that's okay.
I'm still working from home
I can
tomorrow,
get
so I
here
can make it.
before noon, afternoon, I gotta go
I
to
can get
Connecticut
here.
to
We'll let you know as soon as we get the word and we actually have the warrant printed. I just
Yeah.
figured I'd take advantage of y'all being here to tell you.
It's unlikely morning, just because of the steps we have to do internally.
It's unlikely?
Yeah, that'll be tomorrow
As
morning.
long as it
Oh,
gets
yeah.
signed tomorrow and then it can be processed on the next day, we're good to
Wednesday.
go.
Yes,
Yeah.
correct.
So, it's fine.
But yeah,
All 5 of us should be able to
So
make
they
it.
have,
But we really only need 3.
We have to have at least 3 in order for her to,
Yeah.
in order to.
whenever
sign.
it
so
shows
they
up,
have
let me
30
know.
days from the day they sent them out,
Yeah, so we're looking at,
January.
early, mid-January.
Just as a way of announcement, the school has hired a business administrator, so that should help with all the DRA stuff
Next year.
The school.
next year.
Yeah.
All right, guys, we good? I think, like I said, I think this was good progress tonight.
Can I just throw something out there? John, you've been doing great. Anyway, we can keep you? What's the possibility of looking at, is there enough here to have a full-time TA versus somebody that three-quarter, maybe half.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, okay.
That's your command and control,
No, I understand.
you know.
That's just
There are
thinking
things
out
that are
loud.
not getting done with me here.
Okay.
I prioritize and I am getting things done, but I keep seeing more and more things that.
Okay. No, I'm just,
List, yeah.
So I had sent you guys, you know, we agreed last time we talked about the, times we were gonna set aside for
Yes.
potential interviews. I exchanged emails with the guy from MRI today, they should be finishing their round of interviews this Thursday. Based on that, they'll decide who to send to us, and then, keep those slots open, because he's gonna fill in those slots. All right,
Okey-dokey. That's is it the 12th? No, the 12th's the next meeting.
oh, 2 days.
yeah, I said 2 days,
What days were they again? I just wanna,
the 13th and the 16th, I think,
13th and the 16th, yes.
and one was in the morning and one was in the afternoon.
okay.
All right, I think that covers it. I don't think we need a formal motion to adjourn because this is only a workshop. Betsy, thank you very much for being here tonight.